Hi, everybody. Rick DiClemente with Astrology Unplugged. As you can see, our family looks rather crowded tonight, and that's a good thing. Tonight, I was thinking about a lot of different things, and I told Eliza what I wanted to do was to see your chart if it were mine, instead of talking to you as if it's yours. Tell you what I would do if I had your chart. Now, a couple of things I want to mention first, and I got to get to work. First of all, I'm not here to do everybody's chart. It's not why I'm here. I'm here to teach astrology, and then we'll get as many charts as we can. Now, I want you to notice something in my chart. This will help you understand a lot of what I'm going to do here. Okay, here's my chart, and let's get this turned off. And get that turned. They got so many buttons on here, Stephen. I don't know how to keep up with them anymore. Okay, here's my chart. The thing I want you to notice about mine is the plethora of Neptune energy. The Sun and Chiron are in the 12th house. The Neptune is exactly next to Mars. And the Neptune is exactly sesquiquadrant. That's the word you're not used to, which is 125 degrees um, from the Neptune. Boy, this is so cumbersome. Okay. The Neptune is exactly 125 degrees from the moon. This is extremely powerful, even though it is a minor aspect. It's exact to the minute. So what I'm saying to you is my chart is very Neptunian, which is why you hear me talk so much about transcendence, about Neptune, non-Capricornian things, even though I am a double Capricorn, etc. So I want you to understand that when you hear from me reading your chart, I take everybody towards spirit. I take everybody towards what I think is the spiritual goal. So I can do. And that's why. It's not in your charts, it's in some of your charts, but I want you to know why. Now, secondly, the first thing I do, and I'm sure Stephen, who's with us tonight, um, he can understand this. The first thing I do when I'm doing readings is I unplug you from your sun sign. And that's not where unplugged comes from. That's a different kind of unplugged. But I unplug you if you're a Libra, if you're a Sag, I unplug you from your sun sign so that you can understand that you have other energies in your chart, lots of other energies, which can be very powerful. And then the last thing I do when the reading is over, I plug you back into your sun sign because I want that sun sign operative, but I don't want it dominating you. So I want you to understand that as I do as many charts as I can tonight, that I have reasons for why I would take your chart and I would go in a certain direction. Okay? It's really that simple. I'm going to start off with Kathy Frame. Uh, Kathy's chart, if you'll unmute yourself, please.
Okay.
I'm going, thank you, dear. I'm going to, it says we're recording. I'm going to get your chart on the screen. Okay. Now, remember, there are 1 zillion ways to do a person's chart, but I'm going to give you what I got. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why. Now, I'm going to go back to the beginning here. When you do a person's chart, besides what I just said, it is our nature as advanced astrologers to keep you from pitfalls. If you are in Aries, I'm naturally going to look to see without even talk about it. Are you too arrogant? Are you too selfish? If you're Geminian, too Geminian, I'm going to see you as too scattered. How you gonna get anywhere if you're all scattered? I'm looking to see, are you falling in your pitfall? Some people aren't, some people are. Some Leo people fall right into their pitfall, which is I'm in love with myself. That ain't gonna get you anywhere. Some people aren't that way. So I work very hard when I start your reading to look to see, are you in danger of falling in your sun sign's pitfall? Also, I look at other energies, such as we have a sun in one sign, five planets in another sign. I look to see, are you falling in the pitfall that's represented by the other five? So I don't want you falling in any pitfall. The ultimate chart is well-rounded. I do a lot of harmonics, which helps me to understand your destiny and your past life history. So let's get started with Kathy, and you'll see what I mean. Now, right away with Kathy, Virgo women. I told you over and over, most of my readings are Virgo women, not Virgo
Hmm.
men. Most of my reading, I get a lot of Virgo women. Why is that? I think it's simply because they want to do what they should do, and they got a phenomenal need to adhere to what they think God just wants them to do. That's what I think, what I've
Hmm.
discovered. They've just got this thing in them, and they got something in them that drives them that's not like other signs. They're very driven by their particular archetype, unlike other signs who are somewhat driven. Now, when you're driven by the goddess archetype, that's what makes Virgos pure and caring. Also, they're driven to do what they're supposed to do. Well, if you know me, I'm not really high on doing what you're supposed to do. I'm real high on do what you want to do, and hopefully that lines up with your God purpose. Anyhow, now I find Virgos to be very spiritual, but they don't always have um, holistic emotions. Especially Virgo men can have great trouble dealing with their emotions. Virgo women aren't so bad. So if we take a look at Kathy's chart. Okay, and we can see that. Hold on, please. Um, okay, so in Kathy's chart, you first thing I gotta look for, I gotta look to see, is there too much Virgo? Answer, no. Two planets in Virgo. Okay, you see the planets are pretty well spread out. One thing you do see right away is a very strong Mars. I want you to get used to this. I'm here to teach you how to read. Okay? When you have a planet near an angle, one, two, three, four. These are the planets that really get amplified. In this chart, it's just Mars. So having a very strong Mars is not really a problem for Virgo. In a lot of ways, I like it because it overrides that Virgo sense of doing what I should do. And Mars is about doing what I want to do, which is what we really want to give to Virgos. Now, I don't enjoy having Saturn next to my sun because Saturn, even though it's in Leo, Saturn tends to augment this sense of doing what you should do. Also, when you, I have found Kathy to be very easy to deal with, but when you have people normally in readings that are Leo, Leo, Virgo, Virgo, they're never wrong. It's never wrong. And that can be a tough thing to get around. Now, with Kathy, I have not noticed that to be the case, but I would say that on a normal reading. So, what would I do with her? First thing I would do is analyze this T square, because this T square is what's really important in this chart. Why is the moon opposite Chiron. And what is it doing when it expresses itself through Pluto? Okay, now I'm going to tell you exactly what this means. And I feel so sure of itself. I'm going to go right into it. And I've never talked to her about this before. The Virgo part of her is to do what she's supposed to do. And when they do what they're supposed to do, they feel good. And when they do things that are productive, they feel like they had a good day, etc. But Virgo doesn't want to announce it. They don't want to get on a soapbox and tell everybody about it. They're not braggarts. They can't stand braggarts, which is one reason that they evolved from the fifth sign of Leo into the sixth sign of Virgo. But notice there's a T square to Pluto in her 10th house. Okay, now we got opposing conflicts here, and that's what you look for as an advanced astrologer. You have the Virgo, which is not that strong. You got strong Saturnian force, but you got a big T square to, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's correct. You have a T square to Pluto. And Pluto in Leo in the 10th house is not here to keep quiet. Pluto in the 10th house in Leo is here to tell you how it thinks. So, what I would do if I had this chart, without a doubt, is very simple. It's not easy to do, but I know analyzing what I need to do is straightforward. Allow myself to be in the back fold, be behind the curtain, be the force behind the curtain, be the force back in the back storeroom that the front storeroom doesn't see. But at the same time, I'm out front. The problem with Virgos is they're the ones that really do know how to run the company and every detail about it. And they're going to do it right. But they don't want any credit. But yes, they do. But no, they don't. But yes, they do. That's the problem. And a T square to Pluto and Leo in the 10th house wants credit. So what I would do with that chart is I would analyze what does it really mean to take credit? Here's what it all comes down to. You have all seen people that can take credit for things. You have all seen people that can take the limelight, and it's not a big deal. Doesn't bother anybody because it's done in a charming way. Then you've also seen the ones that take credit and they don't want you to have any. That's the problematic Leo. I got it, you don't get any. The universe is finite. So I would spend my time realizing that a lot of times that I want credit, Kathy, is fine. Just let it happen. You're not going to come out from under the bed with a hatchet and start chopping up people. That's what Virgos act like. They don't want to let their power out. They don't trust themselves that they're going to abuse other people. And in your case, you've got to learn how to be humble and to be out front at the same time. And I've seen plenty of people who have been able to do that. Now, the reason for that is you can't go forward with just one of these. You got to go forward with both of these because the ultimate goal is to get back to God. And you're not going to get back to God when you're busy suppressing Kathy all the time. God is speaking through you. God is your talents. God is your expression. This is why when you see, this sounds so silly. This is why when you see a wonderful skater, a wonderful skier, a wonderful artist, what's the first thing you say? Oh my God. Huh? That's not a coincidence. You're seeing God's expression. So what I would do is see how these two things do not conflict Because believe me, if you get arrogant, somebody's going to slap you upside the head and you're going to go back in your position and curl up and feel bad about it. And it might last about a second. And it's just not going to happen with you. On the other hand, it is so harmful to Virgos to push themselves down. This is why you get a messed up intestinal tract, shoving things down. I'm done with that chart. Make sense? You need to unmute yourself. I'm going to talk with Kathy, who needs to unmute herself.
Okay, there we go. Finally got it.
I said, does that make sense what I said to you?
Yeah, it does. I have experienced that. Yeah. For the times that I have been arrogant, yes, I have been slapped down. And there is that conflict of wanting to get out there and express myself, but the fear that I won't be taken seriously or that, do I have a right to come out and say that?
Do you know, am I going to be taken seriously is completely dependent on one thing, whether you take yourself seriously.
Yeah,
None of
yeah.
the things we do, none of the things we do have anything to do with anybody else.
Hmm.
And all I can say to you is you're a bright woman. You've been around for a while. You've seen this, you've seen that. You have every reason to believe that you can blend these two energies. And
Hmm.
what this will help you with is when you do see people that are very Virgoan, you'll be more accepting of that. When you do see people that are very Leonine, you'll be accepting of that also. Because they're
Hmm.
two natural energies. Okay?
Okay.
10-4. Okay, let's go to Teresa.
Thank you.
Teresa, you are welcome. Please, Teresa, unmute yourself. I got about 600 buttons. Hi, Linda, Miss Sprague down there on the bottom of my screen. Okay, let's get Miss Teresa here. Okay, now what would I do if I were this chart? I'd run like hell. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. You can mute yourselves you can unmute yourselves, everybody, if you promise to behave, which I think you do pretty well at. Teresa, dear, okay,
Yes.
you have a very intriguing chart. Okay, you have the Scorpio slash Libra qualities that are very much like our other Linda in this group, our Linda in our group. You have the three planets in Scorpio. You have the common mid 50s, early 50s, and early 50s Saturn and Neptune were traveling together. So it's very common. People 50, 51, 52 have toiling going on between their personal planets and the Saturn and Neptune. For you, it's not too bad because these two are 2 degrees apart. This is over here at 8 degrees apart. You don't want this sun involved in the middle of this mess because the sun doesn't know how to deal with living between the Saturn and Neptune. So you've got the Saturn, you've got the Neptune and the Pluto and the sun, but you've got three Scorpio planets and you've got a T squared of Pluto. Okay, now what this is about is very simple. If I were you, all my lifetime, I would not let myself fall into the trap that relationships are what matters. Uh-uh, they're not what matters. And I know you did. You did fall into that trap. You fell into it a couple of times and you got back out. And that's very, very common experience for a Libra. But you got back out. And what did you realize? You realize I don't need another half. Where's my better half? My better half's right here with my other half. I'm tough the way I am. And what that will do with you, that will draw to you people who are not codependent. It's that simple. Your chart is set up to draw people to you who are codependent, and it will not work. And it's because you're too passionate. You're too passionate to draw these Libra types to you. Libra types are not what you need. You need the Scorpio slash Libra type. You need the friendly and personal and sociable, but the passionate type. Libras aren't passionate. Scorpios are passionate. Libra's too afraid to be passionate because somebody might see them. And how will that look? You are very Scorpio.
Mhm.
And what that means is you are a master, like Arroyo's chart, his Libra Scorpio. You are a master with couple therapy. You would be excellent at dealing with couples therapy because you got both energies there. So the good thing is let the Libra have fun and let the Libra be the lightheartedness of the couples part of you, but let the Scorpio be the intense part. But you also don't want the Scorpio to be too much because it can get out of hand because it gets too feverish and too hungry. Okay? But I think by now you've told me that you pretty much have achieved that balance now that you're past 30.
Thank you. Yeah, that for sure. It took me longer than 30, but I'm there now, Rick,
You
and
got a
that's all
nice,
that matters. I've learned.
you got a nice smile on your face, and that's all that matters is right. I wish I were able to go back and meet you when you were 30 and lay this on you, but we just weren't in such a case. Um, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And in your case, there are many types of yoga. Um, the yoga that I would follow if I were you is, I hope I get this right, bhakti yoga, the yoga of love and um, the love through partnership and love through merging with the other. There's physical yoga, there's working yoga, there's all the mental yoga, all these different types. But your yoga is meant to be through mastering how to deal with others. I see you as an absolutely successful master at helping people with relationship solutions just by bringing them together and smiling and saying, hey, we're here to all be happy, okay? I mean, I can see you doing that. You have a very dominating smile. That's not, yeah, it's not something you want to throw away. That's something that's a real gift. And I think it's really nice. Okay. Speaking of
Thank you.
therapists,
Thank you. I appreciate. Can I just say one thing?
yes, dear.
Um, it's so nice to know now that the most important relationship to me is the one that I have with myself and my true inner being, and not to be looking or it's different though. It's a different feel. It's a feel of just being confident and sure in yourself
Yeah,
without
but, but,
any
but, but,
without anybody else having to be there.
but, that's how it looks. That confidence has nothing to do with the self. That confidence is it.
Yeah,
It looks like the self, it feels like the self, but that confidence is what's got you studying Course in Miracles. That confidence is your confidence in the Holy Spirit and beyond. And Holy Spirit and beyond is not a subject that Libras like to talk about. They don't.
true.
You've got the whole thing working now. And bless
Oh,
you. And I think it's really terrific.
well, thank you.
You are welcome. Let's look at Diane. Diane, go ahead and unmute yourself, dear. Um, I have to make this sound kind of oversimplified. There's no other way I can do it with so many people here. Diane, Okay, here's Diane. All right, here's Diane's chart. Really spread out. She got a T-square to Uranus and Leo. She is an Aries. She got the sun next to Venus. She got a really powerful Eris in Aries. So she has very powerful Aries energy. Okay? Now, this Uranus and Leo energy can really augment this, and it can really make the Aries part even more troublesome because the me of Aries can really become the me with Uranus and Leo. But knowing you for as long as I have, I don't see that because you've got the very strong Neptune in your chart. And the Neptune really saves you. It's the planet that makes you think of others. So the Sag is working well with you. So the whole thing with you is the Aries Leo versus the Neptune. Okay? So what I would do with that, since I have a lot of the same energy that you do, is I'm not going to become a slave to anybody. I'm not going to become a martyr. I'm not going to become overbalancing. And I'm going to use that Aries to stay in touch with. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. There's nothing wrong with this is what I want to do. Your Aries is in really good shape because the Aries Leo is not tilted too far its way. If anything, the Neptune's tilted too far its way. And it's not allowing the Aries Leo stuff to come out. So your trick is to blend the two. Diane, what do you think?
That's it. That's
That's
been
it.
that's been the story of my life. You
Okay,
know,
tell me a brief version of the story of your life in those terms.
well, certainly in my early life, the Neptune dominated in the sense of I was a people pleaser. I remember my
Right,
dad
right.
telling me in second grade that you know how to make people happy. The minister told me that. And then of course, I ended up as a therapist and have been spiritual since I was probably 13, maybe probably before that, but that's when it was obvious. Um, but I have great temper when I don't.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, it doesn't show up a lot, but when it shows up, it's pretty powerful.
Okay, everybody get out of the way.
And I feel like things are balancing out now because my life for the last 5 years at least has been really focused on what do I need and how
Okay,
do
what
I
I
take
want to
care of
say to
me.
you now, and I really think we're done with you because we got the main stuff out. But what I want to say with you is it's been irregular to me how much your Neptune side dominated so early over the Aries side, and I wonder where that goes to in a past life. But what I'm talking about now, it's time for you, if I were you, it's time for you to put your foot down. I'm talking about the gas pedal.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the gas pedal. Let's go. And if someone doesn't like it, they've got their own avenue, right? They got their own vehicle, they got their own gas tank, but it isn't you. You need to follow that Aries and get out there and be the leader that you are and be very strong because your Neptune is always going to be heavily involved in moderating all this.
It's
So
interesting because I just came across something that really calls to me that like I'm just like, yes, this is it. I want to go do this. But it's helping people release emotions through essential oils. So it's got
let me ask you something. You just said that something just came to you, right? Isn't that what you said?
Mhm.
And that was the oils, right?
It was a course, actually, yeah. And I saw
Okay.
the
Do
course
you
and
think
had
the
that
guy
big
up there,
thing.
do you think the guy up there that made this course said, well, let's make sure we deliver one product to Diane down there?
Mm-mm.
Doesn't work that way. Diane is ready.
Mhm.
And it's got nothing to do with the oils. It's got to do what the oils are going to release in these people.
Mhm.
What's this all about? It's finding love in yourself and letting it out.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Peggy, please, please unwind yourself. And let's take a look at uh, Peggy's chart. Okay. All right. Peggy's an interesting chart. We've seen some of this already. Um, oh, by the way, Mr. Rick, I'd like to speak with you for a few minutes alone after it's over. Okay, just stay tuned. Um, it's about your report card. I'm not, I'm just
No pressure.
no pressure. I was about that report card. Just gotta have some fun here.
That's my favorite thing ever. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Because, you're like very, Saturnian.
Oh yeah, but I'm Saturnian.
But
But
you're silly.
I'm also very Jovian.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, look at this, Miss where are we here? Oh, I can't find everybody.
Lens.
I know, but my screen's not showing them in proper order.
Oh no,
There, Peggy. Okay.
Oh.
Peggy, four
we
planets
see
in
it.
Leo. Four planets in Leo. We had just finished talking to Kathy about her Leo Virgo, right? And you remember our old friend Kathy Karen DeBerry, the healer from Florida, and she was all Leo Virgo, and she worked real hard to master these two energies. Okay. Well, the thing I'm seeing with you right away, and I do know what I'm talking about because it's very Saturnian. Your chart is dominated by Saturn. And it's that very Saturn Neptune that I told you about that occurred in the early 50s.
Mhm.
And I see more and more people have difficulty with that. This is a very, very difficult combination to work through because you keep one happy, then the other one's not happy, and vice versa. So you got to really work on blending the two, and I think you can. The point is this: you are not here to keep that Saturn happy. You're here to keep the Leo happy.
Right.
And secondarily, to keep the Virgo happy. You hear me? The Leo and the
Yes.
Virgo,
Yes.
not the Saturn. The
Yeah.
Saturn's here in case there's a big fire. He's going to walk around with a fire hose. Okay? The
Yeah.
Saturn is very useful. It's very powerful. Its controllability is very essential, but you can't let it be the boss. All of you. You cannot let, and more, nobody more than me. You cannot let Saturn be the boss because it will squash you. Behave, or hold back, or behave, hold back, hold back, hold back, hold back until
Hmm.
you got four Leo planets. What do you think they want to do about holding back?
Not.
So what you want to do is keep that Saturn on the side, much like a sidecar. Saturn's a wonderful sidecar partner in case you need some hit the brakes, you need somebody to speak a different language, you need somebody to solve difficult problems. I mean, I don't have to talk to you about Saturn. You're very Virgoan. You understand earthy Saturnian energy. But the question is, are you able to release the Leo?
Now I am.
Okay, wonderful. Since when?
Since Saturn went into Aquarius.
Oh, so it was rather recent, the past year. Okay, and
Yeah.
what happened when Saturn went in?
Well, I was done, retired, in a new house, had to redo that because I needed it to, I needed to be responsible to my house. And then I went in for hip surgery and I needed to get that done, be responsible to myself. And then finally, I decided I'm going to do what I want to do with all my
Hey,
hobbies
she
that I've
took care
had
of
my
all
whole
these
life
things.
on the
She
side.
got her report card
Yeah.
outside. Then she was free again. This is so
Yeah.
typical for Virgos. Well, once I
Yeah.
got this fixed, and I got the foundation for that fixed, and I got this thing fixed, the hell with those things. We want to see that shine coming out of you.
Yeah.
You
Well,
got
I'm
you have
doing
a
all
very, excuse me, sore throat.
that.
You got a very powerful shine. And very few people in the world can shine like Virgos. They're just real. People know it. They see it, they trust you. So the story with you is to blend that Saturn with that Neptune, with that Virgo, with that Leo. Linda, isn't that right? I gotta make sure Linda's away. You have any questions, Peggy?
Um, no, I'm glad I was waiting. I needed a finalization, and you finalized what I know has been happening to me in astrology, with astrology, and I really appreciate that.
Okay, well, you are certainly welcome, and I want to say one more thing to you. Please don't be offended.
Okay.
You do not need anybody's permission. And I know enough of you Virgo women. I know what I'm talking about. They're walking around pleading for permission. You don't need permission. Your permission comes from your inner sense of how well you are honoring Goddess. And Virgo is all about Goddess.
That does not
You,
offend me.
in other words, you know, all you Virgos, you know what the hell you're doing. If
I
only
do.
other people could learn from you. And they will learn from your example. So go do your thing. You know, your Leo energy is a very dangerous energy if you just let it loose. It's very arrogant and it just doesn't know when to stop. But in your cases so far, the Leo energy is not going to get out of hand. It's just not going to. In
Well,
that case, the Leo has a beautiful energy.
that's why I quit drinking. I was not a drunk, but when I would drink, I would be extremely arrogant. And I was like, and people were like, then they start squishing me, and I'm like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I guess that
that's
is
right.
the problem.
Yeah, it'll go. The problem with Leo is it misinterprets its purpose and it thinks that it confuses I'm really okay with I'm really better than you.
Yeah.
And that second one will
Yeah.
really kick your butt. Well, very good. Okay, Miss Erica.
Oh my God. Okay.
Erica's scared to death. She's scared to death. Where is she?
I'm
Oh,
hiding somewhere.
I'm losing my voice here.
Uh-oh, not good.
Well, it's that medication. Hold on. Okay. Hi, Lori. Snuck up on me in there. Okay. You got the three Leo planets. You got the four Aries planets. You got the very powerful Neptune. You got the sun, which is no problem at all. Sun is opposite Chiron, the healer. This, by the way, this is the symbol of somebody with astrological talent. This. This is the most common thing you'll see in a chart of somebody with astro abilities is Sun opposite Chiron.
Then I should be much better than I am. What's wrong?
There's nothing wrong with you. You're just doing astro to the level that you want to. Okay. The secret to your chart is right here. And I've always often told you that. How can you be Neptunian and satisfy the Leo urge and the Aries urge? How do you do that? The fire urge in you of a Leo and the Aries wants to go, 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 do, affect, swing that machete blade, cut those weeds down. And the Neptune is right on the ascendant, dominating the whole chart, making sure that you stay in touch with higher energies. It's not an Aries thing to stay in touch with higher energies. It is with Ram Dass. It is with Joseph Campbell. A lot of Aries have mixtures with Pisces there. But in your case, you have every reason to think that you can blend these energies. Matter of fact, I see it with you. You're a very dynamic woman, but you're also very Neptunian. So I don't need to even say much to you because your Neptune does not hold you back. It doesn't hold you back and repress you. And Aries won't be repressed. Taurus won't be repressed. What do you think?
With Eris right between the two of them.
Very true. So
I'm
how do
always
you
getting
feel?
in trouble, but I haven't had my head cut off yet, so I guess I'm okay.
What kind of trouble do you get into?
I kind of overstep my boundaries sometimes, expressing my opinion, my very truthful opinion, where
Hmm?
a lot of other people are trying to be political and professional and stay
Correct.
out of the muck. And I'm like, let's get into the muck. It's all about the muck. Let's
Let's
clean it
just
up.
say what we gotta say. Exactly. Well, that's one of the really wonderful things about your Taurus sun. It'll really help you, and the Neptune will really help you because the only way you're going to get in trouble is if you really intend harm. And you don't intend harm. People can tell what your intentions are. They just can. Now,
I'm
I
too
can pretty
smart
much,
for that. I know I would get in deep trouble.
yeah,
That
but
would not be fun.
I can pretty much speak for everybody here. We all can sense your goodness and your sense of benevolence. Um, the thing that you have to do when you got a lot of Aries slash Neptune is you got to let the Aries have all the power tanks at once so it can like Rocketeer, fly anywhere you want to. But at the same time, you cannot just let the Neptune be in control because it's spaced out. And it will take you to spaced out lands and you'll never even find the way back. So you're going to need the blend. We have to keep Linda happy here. We got to keep Linda happy. Linda's laughing at her other clients that are same way. Okay, so let the Aries go, but don't be bullshitted by the Aries. Don't anybody get bullshitted by the Aries when it starts to tell you that it knows what it's doing. Because it doesn't. Doesn't know what it's doing. It's got some idea and it'll give you a hell of a ride. But you keep the blend of all the other energies going at the same time. Okay?
My son in the eighth house, so I believe in research.
Well, that's another very good point. But
Research before you go off somewhere.
what I've always tried to stress with you without much success, I've always tried to stress with you your intelligence in your chart comes from Neptune, comes from him. It doesn't come from the Taurus. It doesn't come from your eighth house. It doesn't come from your Aries. And it certainly doesn't come from your Leo. It comes from your Neptune wisdom. It comes from your inner intuitiveness. And Neptune knows what it's doing. It just knows how things feel right. Neptune will guide you perfectly. And I've talked to you many times about this. And you don't want to hear it about Neptune. And I'm sorry, that's the main planet here.
I
Neptune
didn't say I didn't want to hear about Neptune.
I didn't say you said
Oh, okay.
it. You fight me a lot about Neptune, and I'm telling you, the answer in your chart is to just let go and float and just let Neptune guide you.
I like my Neptune.
Well, I like it too. It's my favorite planet in my chart. Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Rick. That was wonderful. Thank you.
You are welcome.
I'll try to live up to it a little bit.
Well, I think you're all going to be fine. Linda Sprague, let's hear about you now. Linda S. Okay, let's see what this chart will do. Linda, my Scorpio. Okay, now if I were if this chart were mine, what would I do? Well, I got a very powerful Neptune opposition to Eris, 4 degrees, 3 degrees, even the Venus. But this power, luckily, sends some of its energy over to Saturn, but not too much of it. It's not really a T square. So you're really caught in a real opposition, is the story here. This doesn't even have to do with these three planets. These things are auxiliary. The main thing going on in this chart is the Eris opposite the Neptune. Now, what's going on there? Whoosh. We've all studied what Neptune's like. We're starting to get better at understanding Eris. Well, what's different about these two planets? A whole lot. Neptune wants to do it passively. Come on in, and when you find a pencil, just come on up and sign in. That would be okay. That's not Eris. Get your butt in here and sign up. That's Eris. I'll sign up for you. I'll just write down whatever name I think. So you gotta really think hard about these two very strangers. The Neptune part is the yielding part. Eris doesn't know about yielding. These two planets aren't stupid. These two planets were placed there because they wanted to face off in this lifetime. And what does that mean? She already knows a lot about it, being a Scorpio. She came into this lifetime to harness her power. And if only every Scorpio in the world would try that, we'd be a lot better off. That's what your chart's all about. Harnessing your power. That does not mean controlling it. Look how many idiots are out there now using Eris incorrectly. That's what's wrong with the world now. Nobody even knows it.
I know.
Eris says, I'm going to find who to blame. I'm going to get my gun. I'm going to shoot them in the butt. I'm going to blame them. I'm going to blame them. I'm going to blame them. We're not going to let that happen. We're going to stand up for America. Oh, by God, we're going to stand up for the Constitution. And they're just fanatical. They don't even know what they're saying. That's the bad side of Eris. The good side of Eris is that she really cares. And so does Neptune. So you're in a continual, as a matter of fact, I've read for you before. I don't think you have any more issues with these two planets. I think you may have at one time, but I think it's over with. And now I think it's time for you to blend the two together into a marvelous powerhouse. What does that mean?
Thank you.
Don't anybody F with Linda. I'm telling you. I'm saving I'm saving you your skin because you're going to get skinned if you F with her. She doesn't even need to F back. She's very powerful and she's worked very hard to get there. She's got the knowledge with the Gemini and the Leo. She's got the talent. She knows what she's doing. The only thing I can say about your chart is I think you're aiming too low. I think it's time to aim much higher. I'm not going to say more about it.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
think you're right.
well, I'm sure you know what that means, and I hope to share that
Eh,
with you someday. But it's
Yes.
not for me to say right now. But I
Okay.
think that you've spent so much time trying to balance. You're
Mhm.
balanced now. Now go to it.
Right.
And you're going to have enormous amount of people following you just because you have the personal power.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at Sigmund. Mr. Sigmund.
Hey, Big Daddy.
Hey, Big Daddy. I don't know where that ever started, but it sure did. Started somewhere. Oh boy. Oh, look at here we got another person with a tremendous grouping. Okay, you got this phenomenal grouping of 5 planets in Libra, all opposite Eris. Eris is at 6, and Neptune is at 7, which is what we just talked about. Okay, so tremendously philosophical person. Okay, he is a Virgo with Sun and Moon there. He's a double Virgo with a Moon in Capricorn. So one would think that he's very down to earth. And Sigmund is not very down to earth. I mean, he is in some ways, but he's very much out there and able to manipulate and move around the stars, which is not a Libra trait. It's not a Libra trait, nor is it a Virgo trait. Here we get the 3 Leo planets together again, too. So, by God, what would I do if I had this chart? And I've got some similarities in my own. 1946, the Mars, Neptune, Chiron. I've seen many musicians with the Mars, Neptune, Chiron who have a beautiful ability with music, very natural, such as Van Morrison, Neil Young, people that just have a tremendous natural. Stephen Stills, you just listen to his fingers. I mean, the music just dances off his fingertips. Just amazing. Um, the one thing I would do, since you are all about mastering skills, that's why you're here. And without going into your harmonics, you got a sun and moon in the 8th house. You're here to master skills. This may sound a little unusual to you, but what I would do with this chart, I would ask myself, okay, we want to get into mastering skills, but how much can I help myself with my philosophy? Your chart is totally sunk. All the marbles are in one basket. All the marbles are in the philosophy basket. And the philosophy basket is not necessarily going to help out that mastery of skills. It will help. But what I'm saying is Libra is too shallow of a sign compared to your heavy duty 8th house. It's just, see, Libra's shallow is not the right word. Libra is about society, being victorious in this society. Well, you're way beyond this society. You're way past us with what we're doing at the social level. So you thinking at a social level and at a level of intellect and philosophy is not going to solve that mastery that you demand. And that Virgo demands perfection, perfection. It demands perfection, whether it's the art of meditation, whatever it is you choose. That art needs to be supplied from that ninth house, but not dominated by it. I think there's too much dependence upon the ninth house. Does it make any sense to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I am, drawn to spiritual matters, things not of the world. Um, it's almost as if that's my creative outlet,
Of course.
and I understand that the rest of that, the rest of the picture is living in the world, whether it's the chopping wood and carrying water of my daily routine, or the fact that bringing um, the spiritual into the world, such for example, we're all together, and the way to you know bring the spiritual into the world and to not be resistant to that is the golden rule. So it's basically, you know how are you doing today? Something positive, whatever.
What I'm getting with you, Sigmund, is hatha yoga, the yoga of being, the yoga of doing. In other words, your eighth house sun moon is so intuitively smart, you don't need anything else. Just go carry wood, go carry water, go chop logs. Just go do it. But if there's anything in you that is slowing you down because you're trying to get in sync with some mental concepts, that's got to go. That had its place years ago.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the antidote to all of that is to be grounded.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, yeah, because that keeps me here and
Yeah,
able to view there, and then to choose. What do I want to interact? Do I not? How do I want to interact? How do I not?
well, you're talking to the guy with who's the most ungrounded that I've ever met. And so I can conceive what you're saying, but I think you're exactly right. People underrate how powerful Virgo is. They underrate that intuitive sense of goodness that Virgo has. And when they sense that Virgo sense of getting things done and being true, and they just underrate how much power is behind all that and how much experience. So the Libra stuff's fine. You want to sit and share, read a book for a while? Okay. But when you go back to work, drop the books. Just just take your walk. I think the Virgo has a real higher dimension, and that's what you're heading towards. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Miss Claudia. Miss Claudia? Okay. I'm trying to get to everybody I can. Claudia. Okay. Claudia. Claudia D. Okay, I've done your chart many times. Let me see what I can do. Okay. Claudia, you have the chart really well balanced. I've told you before, you have the very nice T square to Neptune. Uh, you got that really powerful um, Uranus opposition look at their exact same degree, the Uranus Chiron, which is the astrologer in you, and they make a T-square over to the Mercury in Cancer. This is the reason your Mercury is so powerful, you're mentally so powerful. I've not really seen the Saturn Venus act up in you in Cancer like I've seen other people. This usually makes people much more cautious emotionally, but I don't sense that with you. I don't sense the emotional caution that this can bring about. Um, the Mars opposite the moon probably helps, and the T square to Neptune probably helps. You've got a very nice grand trine of Eris to Neptune to Mercury. Um, I don't think I don't think there's anything that I have to say to you. And that's not because we've talked a lot. It's because I understand that you understand. And what I mean by that is I think you just have a gift, a very natural gift of knowing how to just let Neptune lead the way. And I like it because you're kind of Martian and you're kind of Leonine and you're kind of Sagittarian and you got all these fun level things in you and they're Gemini. But when it comes down to it, you just yield to your Neptune. And everybody, if you don't know much about Neptune, yielding to Neptune is like it's like sitting at Christ's feet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk about Christianity, but that's what Neptune is like. It's about
Mm-hmm.
sitting in his feet and saying, whatever you say, boss. So I don't think there's really a lot I have to say about it. Some of these screens keep popping on and off. I can't keep track of it. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.
Naomi, let's go to you, dear. Let's go down under. Naomi. How are you, Naomi?
Yeah, good. Very well.
Okay. Let's get a hold of you here. Before I push any further, do you guys see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I know it's not simple when you're not an astrologer, but I'm looking at all the different combinations and I'm looking at what really could be influencing here. And you notice I haven't even talked 1 inch about Pluto going into Aquarius either. I'm talking about the natal charts. Um, what are we seeing with this group? This group so far has a mixture of lots of things, but what are we seeing? We're seeing dominating Neptunes with most of you. And that's what brings you here. When you're dominating Neptune, that means that you know there's something outside stronger than you that is leading you, that has goodness inherent, that you need to surrender to, that you know other people aren't and they're making a mistake. So this is really a good group, and this is really kind of a good litmus test. Miss Naomi. Let me get all these buttons pushed. Hi, Linda. Hi, Susan. I'm on my way. Just gonna have to take my time. Okay. With Naomi's chart, we keep seeing so many people tonight with so much Aries in them. You got that Mercury rising in Pisces. You got that bucket pattern out to Neptune in the eighth house. It's very powerful. You get this lovely triplicate right here of Saturn, Jupiter, and the Moon. And the Mercury. Let me talk to myself for a minute here. The Sun square to Mars, and Pluto is just set. And these Libra planets are about to rise. These 3 planets in your chart want you to be popular. And I'm not talking about popular, like, let's rub my chest, show everybody, all my medals. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about being successful in the world, successful leading a career, leading a business, being part of a business, being a leader in that capacity. I think the Aries part of you um, is the leader, and I think it's coming out through these three planets up here. But I'm wondering what I'm sensing is it seems like up till now you've not been able to fly your flag. Whatever reason, you've just not been able to fly your flag. Now, was it because you were too embroiled in fights within yourself? I don't know. I don't even care what it is. But I think that that's what's happening now. You're clearing the way. That's what I'm seeing, two stages. One is the one you've been in for a while. It's going to continue where you're going to continue clearing the way so Naomi can be the Aries that she is. Two is finding her path. And I'll tell you something about Aries. The Aries, they don't necessarily care which jungle they dominate. They go in the jungle with the machete. They don't really care. They just want to chop down something. Let's get moving. I don't think that's the case with you. I think you have a lot of causes and beliefs behind the things that you're into. And I think because you have cleared the way, in other words, because you've dumped your junk with the dump truck that we've talked about, I think a lot of things are going to start coming your way very soon. People, books, directions, opportunities. And I think the main reason they're coming your way is because you're now ready. Now, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think over the years and when I was younger, I made myself small for other people and people pleasing. And now it's like I've just flipped it and let that go.
Good, wonderful. So what's happening now?
Just standing more into my own Pluto, and because that's on my North Node, and embracing that.
So
Trans
what's happening now when people mess with you now that your Pluto is more dominant?
They don't. No, I stand up for myself now. I didn't stand up for myself. I was too much
Yeah,
making myself small. Yeah.
whatever it was. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to say I think you're ready.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really good.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, and I can also see it in you. 6 months ago, you weren't talking much. You were still holding your cards close. You weren't ready to make many moves.
No.
You had to get
That's
things straightened out. But now it's coming out, and I'm real glad. Okay, I'm going to go to Susan unless somebody else has something they got to say. Thank you, Naomi. Let's get to Susan's. Um, thank you very much. Um, hold on one moment. Okay. Susan A. Okay, let's see what we can find here. What would I do if this chart were mine? This chart is not an easy chart. The Mars Pluto is not that strong. It's 8 degrees. That's good. The Mars Pluto is fighting, and this is a fight of three planets all going to Neptune in the eighth house. Okay. When you got three planets all sending their energy to Neptune in the eighth house, and you got Venus and Saturn in the ninth house, we know we've got Sagittarius Sun and Gemini moon, which really is rather minor compared to what the Neptune is about. The Neptune, which is under Pluto aspect right now. Pluto's hitting it right now. The Neptune in the eighth house is about, I want to transcend. I am here, like Rick often tells me, you're here to transcend the world that you have been in. I know that you are a medium and you transcend your normal worlds to help people get in touch with other beings in other realms. What is it about your life that you want to transcend?
I would love to focus on the self capital S and not the self lowercase s.
Okay, very good. What does that mean to you?
Recognizing ego and not being dominated by it.
Well, that is Laura, yes, I'll get to you next. Okay, thank you, dear. That's exactly it, Susan. That's exactly what I've been waiting to hear from you for about 3 years. That's exactly what it's all about. I got my traveling, I got my dogs, I got my retirement from the schools, I got my art, I got all those stuff. But this chart's all about transcending, getting past. I've got great spiritual knowledge. I've got great spiritual experience. I've got a great spiritual outlet with my art. Well, what's the transcendence about? You pinpointed it exactly. Not the small s, but the capital S. That's the main reason most people are here.
Right.
So, well, what I do with your chart, I would do very much what you do because you're very much aware of the bigger picture. You're aware that you're being guided. You got some two lovely companions going with you on your trip, which is really nice. You're meeting people all along the road, much like Johnny Appleseed. You're just dropping seeds of spiritual knowledge everywhere you go. Did you notice how it's so Sagittarian to not get tangled up with people?
Yeah.
You stay kind of free after you leave one campground,
Yeah.
go to the next. You kind
Yep.
of free, go to the next. That's a very Sagittarian thing.
I think it's Aquarius too, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, it very much is. So I don't think there's much that I need to say to you. I mean,
It seems like the theme is Sagittarius Sun, Aquarius Ascendant, Gemini Moon. It's like all non-involvement with people on a permanent basis, but so is Saturn, Venus, isn't it? I mean, it all seems like the collar and cuffs go together.
well, I can see your point, and Saturn Venus is very hard to analyze. I don't really know what to say about that, but I do think you're correct. I would not use it as a roadmap, but I do think that what I've learned about Aquarius, Aquarius is very much afraid of getting bogged down. And what Aquarians do learn is that when they get tied up with other people, it's usually liberating and not confining. And that's one of the main things I would interject into your thinking. That Aquarius can be very liberating once you commit to the other. Because after a while, if there's too much avoidance of the other, that becomes a trap.
Right.
I think you're on the right track. Just good stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, Jane, we did you, right? No? I'm sorry. My screen keeps bouncing around. We're not going to go like that. Let's get you up on the screen. I'm going to try to get everybody I can.
Thank you.
Oh, it's 22 after. Jane is next. Um, okay, here we go. Okay. Jane is the Aries with the Jupiter, strong Neptune, very strong moon, very strong Aquarian, Saturn, Mars. Have you learned why you've been driving with your brakes on?
It feels like a deep, well, just a deep lack of confidence, but I feel like that's
Yeah.
lifted.
Okay, it was a deep lack of
Yes.
confidence, and that is lifting. Okay. Uh, I don't know where that comes from. What's your relationship like with your dad?
It really wasn't great. He passed in 1993, age 62. But he just wasn't someone that really enjoyed having children, and there was five of us.
Okay, let me ask you something. This moon in Aquarius is very much like making you mother to the world. What's that mean
Yeah.
to you?
I remember
It's
you
not,
saying that.
not an Aries quality.
No, because I remember you saying that when you did a reading for me, and I found that interesting, and I think it's this sense for me that actually I'm backing away from a bit because I'm learning to love me. But I feel like I've always wanted to fix, to help, to, and I personally haven't had children, but that's been my, rescue. And I've learned a lot from different roles I've had that in work, that as soon as I rescue, that person doesn't learn anything because
It's
I
the
try and rescue them.
it's the wrong intention.
It is. It is. And I know I've come
Not
right
it,
away.
it's not possible to rescue somebody.
Mm. Yes. Yes. I have to rescue me.
You don't have to rescue anybody. You're
Yeah.
already fine the way you are. That's the big message to all of us. You're fine the way you are. Lori, did I keep you awake?
Thank you.
Come on, let's get you unmuted.
Okay.
Lori, I don't have your chart on the screen. I'm going to have to. Oh, yeah, that saved the day. That's the only thing you guys got to do. One thing. I'll do the rest. Thank you very much. Okay. Lori, this is an unusual chart. Got unusual energies. You see, you've got all this expressive energy, but it's down in the fourth house. Well, you don't want to let it out. But it wants out, but you don't let it out. But it wants out, but you don't let it out. And we don't know where that came from. I don't care where it came from. We need to solve that issue. And I think that is the issue. And with Pluto now here, over the next couple years, okay, you're going to have it out with these energies the next couple years. Okay, what's going to happen in your chart if you're going to get to the point where are you on my screen? There you are. You're going to get to the point where you're not going to care what the reason is. Do you hold yourself back from self-expression?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
I've learned to build walls over the years.
How well have those walls served you?
Well, they are keeping out things that I should be letting in.
Let me ask you a question. How well have they done at keeping you safe?
Not well.
They're an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for them to come down. What's the new Lori going to be like when she lets it out?
Carefree. They're starting to come down already. I've been working on that for a few years now.
Good.
More carefree, more less caring of what other people think about me.
Who was
Loving myself
who
more.
was it around you that cared about how other people felt?
Mm. Meaning what? Like,
Mom, dad?
oh, my mother.
She worried a lot.
Definitely.
What sign was she?
She's December 9th.
Unusual for Sag. Okay, well, what's making you feel better about this coming out?
Just working on myself way more ever since the divorce and that I've just been working really hard on myself. I've found my weaknesses and trying to work on those.
Well, I understand what you're saying. One of the ways I want to put this is your power is arriving. Pluto's heading for the midheaven. Pluto is coming to the top of your chart. That happens every 250 years. And when Pluto gets to the top of your chart, that's when Muhammad Ali stands on top of the world and tells everybody how bad he is. And there's no room for a wuss there. There's no room for it. Pluto wants to express itself. And I pity, what did he used to say? I pity the fool. I pity the fool. That's what Ali would say. I pity the fool who's going to try to stop you.
Good.
Okay, let me put it to you this way. This reading has got nothing to do with anybody in your life. Nobody, no situation, no thing you've been through, no people in you. It has everything to do with what's coming up through you now. And what's coming up through you is very natural. And what it is you're done with it. You're done suppressing your power. We don't care why you did it. You had to do what you had to do, but now it's time to let it out.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Yes, it does. A lot of sense.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me get to Rick. You and I can talk when we're alone. Let me talk with Renate because I believe I haven't gotten to her. And then I got to do Linda P. Renate, here she is. All right. I'm starting to get tired. Renate, let's do this. Okay, if this chart were mine, what would I do? Neptune is in charge. Well, this is it's a very simple response. Taurus, you have always had faith, too much faith in the world, in having money, in having a place to stay, in having comfort, of being safe, all those things, and none of those things have worked.
Right.
None of them have worked. They've all worked partially. It's like you've been walking around with half of an umbrella. And what your Neptune all by itself states that if you would just give me control of things, I'll take care of you. Now, there's a real funny thing that we hear and we see, and hear this in church, and we hear this in the movies, where God tells us, if you let me, I will take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't believe it. No, you don't. Yeah, you do. No, you don't. Yeah, you do. No, you don't. Yeah, you do. No, you don't. That's the human condition. The problem with you is you're getting to the point now where you're believing it. And that's a scary place to be because it changes everything you do. And that's actually a wonderful place to be. You're learning now that the physical is not going to satisfy you in any way.
Well, quite a while already.
Yeah.
Doesn't work any longer.
And since you've been surrendering to spirit, what's been happening to you?
In a way, I feel very much guided, but in another way, I don't really trust that. I still would like to keep control. Even I see it doesn't work any longer, but
All right. Oh, that's very, very good, honest answer. Let me ask you, Miss Renate, if you take control, what are you going to do with it?
I don't know.
Miss Renate, how would you like to have somebody in control that just laughs about being in control?
I am not in control any longer.
So what
So,
I asked you, how would you like to give control to somebody that gets in the driver's seat and starts giggling?
mm,
You don't want that, do you?
mm.
What do you want? What qualities do you want out of your driver?
Safety.
What qualities do you want your driver to have? He's driving your bus.
Certainty.
What
Certainty.
qualities do you want this man or woman to have?
Certainty.
Huh?
Certainty.
All right. But you keep fighting to get control, get him out of the driver's seat, put you in there. And when you get in there, you don't know what you're doing. So you got to give it. So you're just going back and forth, aren't you?
Mm,
It's very, very wearing, isn't it? Makes you tired.
mm-hmm.
And when you have given up control, what has happened?
Don't know.
She doesn't know. Everybody, she doesn't know. When you've given up control, what has happened?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm done. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. You know, but you don't know. And I understand that. You know, but you don't know. You know that when you let go, it's going to be okay, but you also know that you don't know. So I leave you with that, which is where you are, which is a very valid place to be. And that's what you need to look at as is too. I'm going to let go. What's going to happen? And I think
Mm,
that's all I can say. I'm sorry I'm out of time. Now, I do want to finish with Linda Platt because she's the last person that's not been read for. Thank you all for being patient. Linda P., let's get your
thank
chart on the screen. Here you are. What would I do if this chart were mine? Okay. First of all, I stopped going to school. I've had enough of that. Too many years of that. Okay, I'm just kidding you. Okay, why can't I get this on the screen? Boy, thank you for reminding me to put the recording back on. Okay, Linda P., let me take a moment here. With the moon rising, with the T-square to Uranus, and with this steady eddy stream of Libra planets and this very steady Mars, Venus, I want to think about where Pluto is. Pluto is right here, right now, and Pluto is gaining steam in the third house. Okay, I think this is very important. Um, why I think it's important and why I'm hitting on this is you are a Libra. You're a very social being. You've been in colleges forever, and you've had to blend and be a social, intellectual being with all these people. That's understandable. But now that Pluto is growing in your third house of the mind, what's going to happen is you're going to start entertaining and visiting much deeper realms in your own mind. And I would say that's already started. And this would synchronize very well with your Uranus in the eighth house. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now, when Pluto, you can think of Pluto as Jung, because Pluto is very much like Carl Jung. Okay. When I think of Pluto and Jung, I think of Jung saying, this is right, that's not right. He didn't tell you, this might be right, this one might be wrong. It's not how he acted. He said, this is the right answer. This is what that dream means. This is not what that dream means. This is what it means. There becomes much more certainty. Certainty is not a gift that is given easily to Libra people. Libra people, unfortunately, are given to being so safe in the intellectual world and being safe in covering all their bases. What's happening now? The safety's going out the window. You're going to start to become more sure of your mental perceptions. You're going to start to throw indecisiveness out the window. You're just going to start knowing. And it's a really beautiful thing. You can ask Linda Sprague that. It's something she might take for granted being a Scorpio. But Scorpio's sense of certainty is a really wonderful thing. How does that feel for you?
I was just thinking about that this morning. It's like, I don't, it's just, it sounds like exactly where I am. I don't think I need, I don't, I don't think I need that certainty or that is sort of weighing indecisiveness.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
it's like I start in a direction that seems right to me, and then I can course correct as I need to.
That's
And I
right.
can trust that.
That's
And,
right.
I do it. It's like in all the aspects of my life, something comes up that surprises me, and I might go like 30 seconds. I might say, I'm not sure what to do about this. And then I just say, oh, that's the right direction. And I move, and it's the decision making is over with. And
Yeah, like in the old days, you needed. That's a Libra scale. That's what comparing is about. In the old days, that's what you needed. You have always been a Libra Scorpio. Now you're becoming a Scorpio.
oh, I mean, and there's some downside to that too, because Libra has that lovely diplomatic quality,
That's
and
right.
I'm nowhere near as diplomatic as I used to be.
That's
I,
okay.
I just say, oh, no, that's not it.
Yeah, but you're not going to kill anybody.
Nah, well, no, I don't know, maybe.
No, you're not. But tell me something. With this new Libra with this new Scorpio, a certainty of yours and assertiveness, what's the new Linda heading for?
The only way I can say it is, there are very few things. I mean, there's things that I'm totally committed to in the world. Like I'm very glad to be here today because I've had study hall for Thursday night, Thursday night, Thursday night, and then finally today I didn't have it, and so I'm so glad to be here. So there's certain things like this, it's teaching to some degree and so on. But for the most part, there isn't. I don't it's not that I don't care about anything. It's that things that used to be important to me just aren't. I mean,
What is it that you want to do?
I don't know.
Oh, yes, you do.
I want to write down what I know.
You are a mental leader. You're a mental leader. You want to lead people in how to do what?
And how not to screw up the next generation. You know, I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, I've thrown every rule that most people in my field would say about teaching just out the window. I don't do anything like anybody does it anymore. I just say, no, we're not doing that. I let them make a lot of the decisions. I don't care if they use peer-reviewed journals, because as I tell them, we have the internet now. People don't spend 3 years getting somebody to put a stamp on things.
Let me tell you something quickly, because I do have to go. I want to say something to you. Number one, we're all done with this because this is the story with you. Number two, this finding of a new Plutonian direction has just started with you. It's just minimal, tiny little thing. It's going to get really big, and it's going to get very exciting, and you're going to do very well on it. And you've always got us to fall back on if you get nervous. I gotta go, everybody. I'm sorry.
Shelby says bye.
Thank you,
Shelby.
Rick.
Oh,
Have a
talk-
good
talk
night,
to Rick after.
everybody.
So
Thank
much.
you so much,
Thank you.
everyone.
It was so
Thank you,
fun.
everybody. It was
you.
very good.
Many
Great.
blessings, everyone.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that was
Rick.
wonderful.